Viewers, it's been over 2 years since Indian troops and Chinese troops clashed at the LAC in a brutal ambush by the Chinese in which soldiers of both the sides had died. And since then, the MEA and the Chinese side have been negotiating the Chinese incursions into India's territory. Now we have a big update by the Ministry of External Affairs, which has issued a statement on this disengagement matter. And the big update is that at the Gogra-Hot Springs, the MEA says that a disengagement process has been finalized as of yesterday. And this disengagement will be completed by September the 12th. This is a big statement that has come in from the Ministry of External Affairs of India, and it states very comprehensively that both the sides have agreed to the disengagement. It has already begun, and that this will also involve the pulling back of all temporary structures and allied infrastructure by both sides, and also the return of the troops who are deployed to their original areas. There will be a return to the status quo insofar as the Gogra-Hot Springs is concerned, is what we are told. But there will be no unilateral change in it as well, and both the sides will conduct a mutual verification process. This is what the Ministry of External Affairs has to say on the matter. The Gogra-Hot Springs, otherwise known as Patrol Point 15, was one of the key contention areas between the two sides. 16 rounds of Corps Commander level talks have taken place, and to tell us more about how this came about, we have our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor joining us. Abhishek, just put it into context. What has been decided and how crucial is it?
Well, Ankit, you have given the basics of the MEA statement. This follows the Ministry of Defense two-liner that had come yesterday. Now, the backdrop is that between the 15th and 16th round of Corps Commander level talks were two meetings that took place between Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. One was in fact in Delhi when Wang Yi had come visiting, and the other was on the sidelines of G20 foreign ministers meet in Indonesia and Bali. I believe both were in the month of July, and that I think has made a difference on the ground. So far as the modalities of disengagement are concerned, the MEA statement is absolutely clear. It says that whatever temporary or permanent infrastructure might have been built post-April 2020 would be dismantled, and original landforms in the area of Patrol Point 15 would be restored. Remember, 3 earlier disengagements have happened both from the north and south banks of Pangong So, and then subsequently at the Gogra, another point at Patrol Point 17 in the same Gogra-Hot Springs area, and now, of course, Patrol Point 15. The issues of Demchok and Depsang still remain, but they are pre-April 2020. They date back to almost 10-15 years, in the case of Depsang, even more than that, and the Chinese have really not been amenable to the idea of discussing that, but it's on the table. We have seen the kind of tough talk that External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has done over the last 4 or 5 months. At every opportunity, both domestically, speaking in Bengaluru, speaking in Ahmedabad, speaking in Baroda, and of course globally, wherever he has traveled to, he has made it amply clear that the Chinese have really not kept their side of the bargain insofar as boundary agreements between the two sides going back to the early 1990s are concerned, and things are really not good between India and China insofar as Ladakh sector is concerned. So I think that plain speaking has really helped, and disengagement now proceeding. Of course, the details that beginning yesterday morning, this will go on till the end of the day of September 12th, and as I mentioned, all structures built temporary or permanent would be dismantled and original landforms established. Apart from that, of course, Ankit, talks are going to continue, and it is hoped that at some stage Chinese would accept that Demchok and Depsang have to be discussed. For now, of course, with the last of disengagement happening after the post-April 2020 build-up, it seems that now, at least later this month, when the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Leaders Summit happens in Samarkand in Uzbekistan, there would be some atmospherics going for a meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping of China. Remember, they have not spoken since April of or maybe June of 2019, bilaterally speaking. So that's going to be an important meeting, and perhaps that might also have played some role in this disengagement that has finally been effected between the two sides.
Right. That's put things into context, I think, very succinctly, that there are a key set of talks that have taken place, and one hopes that this will herald a pullback of the Chinese troops from all the other areas as well, and a de-escalation there, as the statement says. I thank Abhishek Kapoor for putting it into perspective. For now, we will move on to another story while we are tracking this very closely.